Catherine Herridge, House Dem Intel Memo contradicts corrupt former FBI Director James Comey's testimony, by Jim Hoft for thegatewaypundit.com. Yesterday, the Democrats on the Intelligence Committee released their FISA memo. It includes many contradictions, including going against what former FBI Director James Comey testified under oath. The Democrats' FISA memo claims multiple sources corroborated elements of the anti-Trump Steele dossier. Catherine Herridge reported at Fox News that the Democratic memo in the least appears to contradict testimony of James Comey. Herridge's piece was longer than the piece noted above in the below tweet. Fox News gives more than 7 minutes in her analysis and rebuttal of the phony Democrat FISA memo. So this is the whole full section here we're going to listen to. Democrats' memo FISA was not used to spy on Donald Trump or his campaign, Catherine Herridge reports. The Democrats have made so many lies, it is now impossible to keep them all in order. The whatever is beginning to crumble. Now all we need is an AG who will bring a barrage of justice on the entire Obama-Clinton cabal. Let's take a listen here.
I encourage people to do. It's about 10 pages. When folks read this memo for themselves, which I think we want to encourage people to do, it's about 10 pages in length. It's really important to be reading and looking for what is not there or what is omitted. That matters because in the Republican staff memo, they concluded that the Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe testified under oath in December of 2017 that they would never have sought this surveillance warrant for Trump campaign aid if it weren't for the Trump dossier. And that charge is not taken head on by the Democrats in their rebuttal. Number two, when we look at the issue of the DNC and the Clinton campaign, the Republicans found that it was a political document and that this information about the funding and the sourcing with the DNC and Clinton campaign was never directly shared with the FISA court. That is not really taken head on either in the Democrats' memo. It says that for reasons that are standard in terms of protecting sources and methods, that it was appropriate for the FBI and Justice Department to call it a political document or a politically motivated document that was designed to work against the then candidate Trump, but not to really get into the specifics and the black and white that it was the DNC and the Clinton campaign. One of the most important conclusions, if you will, in the Democrats' memo is that there were multiple sources that corroborated elements of the dossier. And that is down here on section page 4, and you can see at the bottom that the supporting information is redacted, and based on my experience, that would be sources, methods, and national security information. And it says the Justice Department provided additional information obtained through multiple independent sources that corroborated the British spy, Christopher Steele's reporting. Let me tell you why this has my attention, because it seems to directly conflict with the testimony that FBI Director James Comey gave under oath to the Senate Intelligence Committee in June of 2017. And I have that statement for the record right here, and it's in that testimony that Comey says, I briefed the incoming president in January of 2017 about the Trump dossier, but he says specifically in this statement for the record, which is under oath, the intelligence community leadership, I'm quoting here, thought it was important for a variety of reasons to alert the incoming president to the existence of this material. That's a reference to the Steele dossier, even though it was salacious and unverified. So the FBI director said in January it was unverified, but the Democrats are saying in their memo that several months earlier there were multiple sources that had corroborated the reporting. So this is clearly a disconnect, if you will, or a clear conflict between what the FBI director, former FBI director, has testified to and what's in the Democrats' memo, Arthel.
Yeah, and Catherine, you were referencing page 4. Also on page 4, you have pages suspicious activity during the 2016 campaign, the Vice application. I've also detailed pages suspicious activity after joining the Trump campaign in March of 2016. Page traveled to Moscow in July 2016, during which he gave a university commencement address, an honor usually reserved for well-known luminaries. And it goes on to say, it is in this specific subsection of the applications that DOJ refers to Steele's reporting on Page and his alleged coordination with Russian officials. Steele's information about Page was consistent with the FBI's assessment of Russian intelligence efforts to recruit him and his connections to Russian persons of interest. What does that say to you?
Well, the thing that seems to be missing here in the memo is that it leaves the impression that Carter Page was like an unknown quantity to the FBI and the Justice Department in 2016, when in fact they were very familiar with Carter Page. He had come to their attention in 2013 as the result of a counterintelligence or an espionage case, and in fact Carter Page had become a cooperating witness for the FBI and helped them secure a prosecution of a Russian national for spying inside or trying to recruit spies inside the United States. So Carter Page wasn't some blank page that they had never seen before. He was well known to them. And again, I come back to the idea that when you look at what Comey testified to the Senate Intelligence Committee, he called it unverified, but the Democrats in their memo say that there were multiple independent sources corroborating some of the information. And I would encourage people to also take a closer look at the way they deal with this September 2016 report by Michael Isikoff and Yahoo News, which was used in the FISA application for Carter Page as additional or corroborating information. What I don't see here is the explicit reference to the fact that the court was ever told that Steele was the source for the Isikoff story. Okay, so it was circular reporting. And if you go back and you look at the Isikoff story from September of 2016, its bottom line is that intelligence officials are looking at these issues and exploring these issues, not that they have confirmed these events actually happened. So it may be a fine distinction, but it doesn't go to the level of corroboration I think one would hope to see in the FISA court, because for folks at home who are not used to hearing about this National Security Court, this is one of the most secret institutions in the judicial system. It's really up there with the Supreme Court. And as you would expect, there's an extremely high bar to cross in order to approve the surveillance of a U.S. citizen inside of the United States. So this is phone records, emails, text messages. It's the government in all of your communications.
Catherine,
go ahead.
I was just saying, it does not have any place in this that says there was compromising information on President Trump or then candidate Trump. But it says that Page met with high officials in the Kremlin and they discussed the possibility of the compromat, that's compromising information on Hillary Clinton, being released to candidate one's campaign that refers to Trump. So what do you make of that the Russians had something on Hillary that they're apparently talking to Carter Page about, but they apparently don't have anything, or at least is offered here, on President Trump?
We interviewed Carter Page almost a year ago this month, and he said on the record that the allegations that had been made against him in the dossier were false, and he's been on many other networks since. But if I could just take one further step back for context, which I think is important. In March of last year, there was an open hearing by the House Intelligence Committee with then Director Comey and the head of the National Security Agency, Admiral Mike Rogers, and it was during that testimony that Congressman Adam Schiff read into the record entire sections of the Trump dossier, about like 6 minutes worth of information. And what I find interesting in the Democrats' memo now is that they're saying it was never really about the dossier. It was about other intelligence that led to the surveillance warrant. And that, to me, seems like they've moved several steps in distancing themselves from the dossier. And this was not the tone that they were taking just a year ago when they were arguing that there was interference in the campaign and some of the information was held in the Trump dossier.
Yeah, and then the DOJ also provides transparency about Christopher Steele. And what we'll do, Catherine, we're going to move on at the moment, and we're going to get back to you a little bit later in the show and give you some more.
Well, as you can see, they try now to distance themselves from the dossier when that's all they were talking about was the dossier. So you could see the hypocrisy of it all. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.